Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm your host, Stephen Henderson. The Detroit premiere of a documentary that chronicles the life of community activist Yusef Bunchy Shakur takes place on June 25th at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. The film is titled Redemption Road, and it traces Shakur's transformation from a young gang member to an author, educator, and neighborhood organizer. Take a look.
Once upon a time, I had a child. I named him Joseph.
This young man grew up hard, not unlike some of your own children. Grew up on the lower northwest side of Detroit, Ferry Park, 14th, 12th, Linwood. Broken home. Mama young, daddy young. Grew up on the streets. The streets were his mentor.
What was his father?
He didn't want to stand up and face his responsibilities as being a father.
He terrorized people. He was terrible.
When I turned to the left, I saw gangbangers. I saw guys selling dope, and then to the left of me, I see prostitutes. I see pimps. For an 8-year-old, his hero is Spider-Man, Superman. My hero is Killer Mike. So when I become a gang member, it's a direct result because I see Doc Strange gang banging on the block every day. I'm basically signing up to destroy my neighborhood. Because I'm trying to be filthy rich. I'm trying to be the drug kingpin around this.
We had did to them, man, so they came up to the church shooting up at the church. Now, what type of shoot up at the church?
On the charges that Joseph was convicted for, I would have to say that Joseph didn't have nothing to do with that case.
Yusef found himself imprisoned for a crime he did not commit.
I'm fighting like every other week. I've been in the hole 7, 8 times. I said I was lonely. I was homesick. Throughout my life, I'd always been searching to these answers to these questions. So when he writes me back, I feel the love. I feel the warmth. It jumps off. The things that I've been searching for, things that I've been yearning for, I feel in his letters.
Redemption Road is a gripping and authentic narrative of conflict, vulnerability, struggle, and atonement.
Joining me now is the filmmaker and subject of the documentary, Dr. Yusef Bunchy Shakur, who is also executive director of the Michigan Roundtable for Just Communities. Welcome back to American Black Journal.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I want to start with the title of this documentary. That word, redemption, is a word that gets thrown around a lot. I think a lot of people have kind of preconceived notions about what it means. But let's start with what that means for you, and in the context of this story that you're telling about yourself, Redemption Road. How do you think of that word in that context?
Wow, that's a great question. Actually, I'm in the process of writing a new book. Yeah. In new book, I'm like exploring that, and for me, to get to redemption comes out of vulnerability, and the vulnerability of the things that you identify as being a former gang member, incarceration, and just my life in general. And those things don't define me, but the ability to, because vulnerability has been part of my life, and the overcoming that vulnerability has led me to a reckoning, and that redemption is redeeming myself, but that redemption is coming out of becoming a better person, and becoming a better person is not only healing but a transformation, and looking at those who love me to allow me to love myself, to become the person who I am today.
Yeah, I mean, redemption doesn't have to mean regret or apology necessarily. Right. It's about growth, I feel, right, and sort of incorporating who you were into who you want to be, and that's really different than the way I think our our culture and our society uses that word, kind of imposes it on people to say, you have to redeem yourself. That's kind of a negative. I think you're thinking of it in a really different way.
Absolutely. In a different way, again, going back to vulnerability.
Yeah.
And I think that the more we engage our vulnerability, the more freedom we find of ourselves. And that is redeeming, that is changing. But everybody changed, but not everybody transformed.
Yeah.
And that transformation is the growth, is to become and not everybody comes out to be an activist or whatever. I'm fortunate to do multiple things, but that's the continued growth, my continued transformation, my continued of redeeming myself every day. And nothing that's even bad.
Yeah.
Just want to be the best person I can be.
Yeah. How hard was it for you to tell the story through the film? I mean, I always think it's hard to tell any story. It's hard to make a movie. But if you're doing it about something so personal and that something is so much a part of you, that maybe adds an order of difficulty to it.
That's another great question. Fortunate enough for me, I've written a book.
Yes.
And so the book was kind of the precursor. And the way the story unfolds, everybody hears, they see themselves in it. So that had given me the courage. And I think that going back to the word vulnerability again, by me sitting in my vulnerability allows you to see yourself. And so my story may remind you of someone in your own life, or maybe you in general. And that's the power of a story or a narrative that is not about an individual. Like my story is Detroit. Yeah. It's just a different version of Detroit that we don't necessarily get. Yeah. But my life, my family is centered in that. So when you learn about this story, you learn about my mother, you learn about my father, the neighborhood I grew up in.
The neighborhood, yeah.
You know, and all those things have shaped me and shaped us to be who we become.
Yeah. You've been in Detroit a long time, like me. We're old men now.
Yes, correct.
The Detroit we grew up in, though, was very different, I think, from the Detroit that my kids are growing up in now, or that I live in now. What kind of things do you think we can draw out of the old Detroit that we experienced that helps people understand kind of where we are now and what we need to do still in our city?
I think the luxury of having, your grandparents, I miss walking through the neighborhood and seeing the elders on the porch.
Yeah.
And they knew you, right? And they wasn't dirty looks. They can give you a look and like, oh shit, don't walk on Miss Mary Grass.
Right.
Or before I get home, Mr. Johnson call my grandfather, right? Like that continuity, that connection, that warmth. Or if I find myself I need to use a restroom, Miss Johnson, can I use your restroom? Like those small little things that we took for granted.
Yeah, and they're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah.
And that was the building blocks of a safe neighborhood, despite whatever was going on, because all we had was each other.
Yeah, yeah. When you are doing the work that you do now, especially with young people, what do you see in them that reminds you of when we were that age, or the Detroit that we grew up in?
And what I see in them is that youthful person that's still trying to find themselves.
Yeah.
Like for me, I think as a man, how do I go back and continue to bring that little boy who was stripped of his ability to grow up?
Yeah.
Normal. Right? And sometimes every kid is growing up differently, but are we truly allowing kids to be their full selves as kids? Yeah. And many of them are growing up very fast, and that's damaging. And that's the part I see. And I think that's a common thread line. And I think also, how do we support the parents? Because I hurt when my mother hurt. Because at the end of the day, my safety net was my mother. And so even though she never told me she was hurting, I can feel it.
You can see it.
When she was happy, I was happy. And so the balance between a child being productive is the balance of how productive of their parents and their household and that neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah. I also want to talk about your work with Michigan Roundtable. You're the first African American to lead that organization. You said it's been about a year.
Yes.
Let us know how that's going and how you're finding the work.
Well, let me first acknowledge that I'm grateful for my board chair, Dr. Lisa Jackson. I'm grateful for my deputy director, Joju Huntley, those two, we're forming a strong team. I think the organization has like, and I'm realizing some organizations go through leadership change, some organizations go through a shift of its mission. Very few do both at the same time.
Yeah.
And we did both at the same time. And so regrounding ourselves, but I'm continuing to learn that our work matter. We're transitioning from our regular office in the New Center area, where we'll be moving to the Mama Community House as our permanent residence, as our office. So we'll be one of the very few organizations where our office is where we work.
Is in the neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. If you had to kind of sum up the vision that you're trying to bring to the work, what's different about that?
So the difference in the vision that I've, up under my leadership, we have 4 anchors: building community power, dismantling stigmas and building pathways, youth leadership and self-determination, and corporations for communities. And those buckets is where our work is at. And so, give an example of building community power. There's a lot going on in Detroit. But even with our new mayor, and she's made a declaration. How do we build up our neighborhoods? And so our goal is, how do we hold her accountable? How do we hold our administration? How do we hold corporations accountable? Not as if it's their fault, but again, if downtown is building and it's doing great things, then the neighborhoods has to be building and doing great things as well. But they're 2 different dynamics, but they have to be in alignment and complementing each other. And that's where our through line is.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's happening or possible right now, or are we still really at the beginning stage?
I think we're at the beginning stage. I mean, we're so far behind, but it's as you know, with the work you guys, it's starting with conversations.
Yeah.
Having tough conversations.
Right.
And sometimes we may not see it eye to eye, but through that tough conversation, we can get harmony. Right? And you don't have to be from poverty to care. But you have to be willing to go to face poverty to learn why you need to care.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have to see more of what people's lives look like in Detroit right now to really understand what challenges we have.
And just going back to what we talked about earlier, like growing up, like poverty is nothing that it's not a black thing.
Right.
It's not a white thing.
Right.
It is an American thing.
It's a poor thing, right?
And so we're all responsible. Yeah. And this is, and once we take more of that responsibility, this is we're responsible for building a just community.
Yeah.
And that's the call of action.
Yeah. Okay, Dr. Shakur, it is always good to catch up with you. Congratulations on the documentary, and you're working on another book, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
What's that book about?
It's called Dear Ava Jo and Baruti, A Son's Reckoning and Love Through Letters. So it's a book that I'm writing to my father and my deceased mother.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to read that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.